Okay, I'm going to go and show you or go through the assignment we were sort of going through yesterday, the practice. I know we just barely got started. And without me here, it makes it a little bit more difficult. So I thought I would just go through with you, make this little video on the practice questions, and then you'll get an assignment that you'll work on in class. And then you can stop this video and whenever you need to, and go back and rewind it, that sort of thing. Okay, so I think I will start. We did these two in class, so I will start with the next question here. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is fill in the chart. So we look at our input. It goes 2, 4, 6, 8. So it shouldn't be hard to figure out that the next answer is going to be 10, and then it's going to be 12, right? Because it's going up by 2. So I can just put in, get my pen back out, right? I'm going to put in, oops, supposed to be at 10, 10, 12, 14, 16, right? Going up by 2s. Now, if I look at my output, it goes 20, 40, 60, 80. That's going up by 100, or by 20s. So my next one is going to be 100 because 80 plus 20 is 100. All right, so now I put in, add another 20, add another 20. Right, each one of these went up by 20. And the same would be here, the same here, right? Just kept going up by 20 each time, which then gets us to that input to output rule. Remember, that's what you do to this number to get that. And you always, first question you always want to ask yourself is it growing or shrinking? Because if it's growing, then we know we want to start with adding or multiplying. If it's shrinking, then we want to start with subtracting or dividing. So this one is growing because 2 is smaller than 20. So then I could think, well, adding 2 plus 18 would give me 20. But remember, to be the rule, it has to work for all of them. And 4 plus 18 is not 40. So now I know I can't start with adding. I must start with multiplying. So then I ask myself, well, 2 times what will give me 20? Well, I know 2 times 10 will. So then I want to check it with my next ones. Well, 4 times 10 is 40. 6 times 10 is 60. 8 times 10 is 80. So it works. And I could do the others as well to check. So my input to output rule then is just going to be input times 10. Now, I'm going to run out of room here. Okay. Now we'll do the same thing over here. We're going to do the same thing, right? We look for our pattern, 50, 450, 400, 350. I know it's going down by 50s. And I think that was 500. I think I said 50, but 500. So it's going down by 50. So 350 minus 50 is 300. Minus another 50 is going to be 250. Minus another 50 is 200. And minus another 50 is 150. Then I look at my output, 85, 35, 85, 35. Looks to me like this one is also going down by 50s. So it's going to go 285 and 235, 185, 135. And now I look for my input to output. What can I do to one to get to the other? Now this one, I notice it's smaller. My output is smaller than the input. So that means I need to do either dividing or subtracting. And just by looking at the numbers, it doesn't look like one that I could divide with. So I'm going to do subtracting. So I would subtract 500, take away 485, which would give me 15. So it's got to be minus 15. And then I would try it out with some of the others. Well, 400 take away 15 is 385. 350 take away 15 is 335. So my input rule to output is input minus 15. Number two, now they have two operations. So you're first going to fill in the different rows here, right? So you'll go 5, 6, 7, 8. Looks like I didn't have a row for 9. Oops. And then we would just keep filling in for your outputs, right? So it looks like it's going up by 3. So 14, 17, 20, 23. And then I'm going to do 29 because I know I didn't have a 9 in my table. Now I'm going to figure out my input to output rule. Now I look at 1 and 2 here, input to output. Well, I think, well, plus 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. But remember, it has to work for all of them. And 2 plus 1 is not 5. 3 plus 1 is not 8. And it is a growing pattern. So now I know I've got to start with a times by something. And this was where you can sometimes use this as a, your output as a hint of what to start with. These are going up by 3s. So we can try 3 first. Okay. Now, it's not saying it will always work. Sometimes it won't. But sometimes it does work. So input times 3. So, well, 1 times 3 is 3. And to get to 2, I've got a minus 1. And then I would try it and see if this works for the others. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 minus 1 is 5. 3 times 3 is 9. Minus 1 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 minus 1 is 11. So you're still doing the same steps that you would do here. You just have to do one extra step to figure out the second number in your pattern. And then I would do the same for this one. My inputs, it's going to be like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. My outputs, they are going up by 5s. 9 plus 5 is 14. 14 plus 5 is 19. 19 plus 5 is 24. I can subtract those two numbers to figure out what it is. So then I would just keep adding 5. 29, 34, 39, so on and so on. Input output rule. Well, I notice my output is bigger, so it's a growing pattern, which means start with add or multiply. 1 plus 8 will give me 9, but 2 plus 8 gives me 10. Doesn't work, so I'm going to start with multiplying. Now, I also know that I can sometimes use that output number as a clue. This output one we said was going up by 5, so that means let's try times 5 first. Well, 1 times 5 is only 5. So what would I do to get to 9? Well, 5 plus 4 would give me 9. So it's input times 5 plus 4. And I'll try it with one of these other ones and see if it works. 4 times 5 is 20. 20 plus 4 is 24. 3 times 5 is 15. 15 plus 4 is 19. That works. I'm going to move on to the next page. And erase it. Oh, there's got to be a quicker way to do that. Oh, there it is. Haha. Good. Okay. Now I'm not going to do C and D just because it would just show the same thing. Right? I've gone through 2 of them already. Now the next one, they want you to fill in these blanks. Do your input to output rule. What is the output when it's 40? Well, I notice it goes 5, 6, 7. These are going up by 1. So I know that that's going to be 7 plus 1 is going to be 8. So I'm going to stick an 8 here. That's a bad 8, but it's an 8. I know my outputs seem to be going up by 3s. 21 plus 3 is 24. 24 plus 3 is 27. So I'll go and add 3 to 30 to get 33. Add 3 to 33 to get 36. Okay, so I filled that in. That's the first part. Now I need to find my input to output rule. I know it's a growing pattern. So adding 5 plus 16 would give me 21, but 16 plus 6 will not give me 24. So I'm going to start with multiplying. I'm going to take my input and I'm going to multiply it by what this is going. This is going up by 3s, so I'm going to multiply it by 3. So 5 times 3 is 15. Well, 15 to 21. If I went 21, take away 15, I know I would get 6. Right? So then it's going to be times 3 plus 6. And again, I could check it out by trying a different one. Let's try 10, right? 10 times 3 is 30. 30 plus 6 would be 36. Now they want to know what would the output be when the input is 40. So this is where we use that pattern rule times 3 plus 6, right? Our input is 40, so instead of writing the word input, we just put in the word 40. And we're going to times it by 3, and then we're going to add 6. 40 times 3 is 120, plus 6. So that is 126. And that's what I would put here. Now I wanted to look at this next one because this is an interesting one. Our inputs go 0, 5, 10. Looks like they're going by 5, so I know that's going to be 15. But the outputs 1, 2, 3, 4, they're only going up by 1s. So that's going to be 5 and that's going to be 6. Our outputs are bigger, right? Except for the first one. But generally the inputs are bigger than the outputs, which means we want to start with subtracting or dividing. Now, my first input is 0. I can't subtract anything to get 1. So I know I have to start with dividing. Now, I also know that in dividing and multiplying, anytime you have a 0, it's going to be 0. Anything divided by 0 is 0, right? Sorry, duh. It's going to be divided by 1. Does that make sense? No. My outputs are going by 1 times 1. This one might be a different one. Because dividing by 1 wouldn't do anything. I wonder if it's times 2. No. Oh, I think. I'm sorry. Because we are dividing, right? Because we start with dividing, we don't look at the output rule. We look at the input rule. These are going up by 5s. So we're going to go input divided by 5. That's going to be our first one. Right. Multiplying, we look at this rule. For dividing, we look at this side. So it's going by 5s. So we'd start with 0 divided by 5, which we know is going to be 0. Now to get that to 1, we would add 1. And I could try to see if it works with others. Well, 5 divided by 5 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. 10 divided by 5 is 2. Plus 1 is 3. Okay? That's the tricky one with the division, right? You were looking at this pattern here to figure them both out. What's the output when it's 40? Well, let's substitute the word input for 40. So it's 40 divided by 5 plus 1. So 40 divided by 5 is 8, and 8 plus 1 is going to equal 9. So the output is going to be 9. And then they give us 4, write the pattern rule that relates the input to the output. Predict the output when it's 9. So they want, there's the input to the output. So we have 1 to 6, 2 to 8, 3 to 10, 4 to 12. Okay, so it's a growing pattern. So I'm going to start with trying adding. 1 plus 5 would give me 6. 2 plus 5 does not give me 8. 3 plus 5 does not give me 10. So I know I'm going to have to multiply. And I can try using that output and seeing if that helps. These are going up by 2. 6 plus 2 is 8. 8 plus 2 is 10. 10 plus 2 is 12. So I'm going to start with input times 2. 1 times 2 is 2. Now to get up to 6, I then got to add 4. So let's try it with another one and see if it works. 2 times 2 is 4. Plus 4 is 8. 3 times 2 is 6. Plus 4 is 10. So that works. And then it says, what is the output with an input of 9? So then we would just put a 9 where the input is, times 2, plus 4. So that gives me 9 times 2 is 18. Then add 4, 19, 20, 21, 22. So that's going to be 22. And then input with an output of 28. So then I'm going to go 28 times 2, which is 56, because 2 20s is 40. 2 times 8 is 16. 40 plus 16, 56. And then I've got to plus my 4. So 56 plus 4 is 60. And that's how we would have done that question. Now let's, is that it? Yeah, looks like this might be it. Nope. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it looks like that's all. So now you should be able to do the assignment. Remember, you can go back and watch this video as you're working on your assignment.